Welcome to episode 12 of Challenging Approaches. In this video we're heading to the island of St Barthelemy in the Caribbean, just a short flight from our previous episode on the island of Sabre. Therein lies the airport of Gustav III, famously known for the hill at the end of runway 10, which makes for a staggering approach 5 times steeper than standard, taking you dangerously close to the local traffic. This calls for an aggressive flare on final to avoid impacting the runway with a high rate of speed. The runway is also relatively short at just 650 metres long, with a 2-degree downward slope that only adds to the required landing distance. Due to these challenges, the runway is daytime visual approach only, with takeoffs on runway 10 while approaches into runway 28 have no go-around option on short final. Because of these reasons, pilots who land here require special certification. In this video, we'll be taking the more famous approach into runway 10. We'll also just see how close we can get to that hill, so stay tuned. And welcome aboard this de Havilland DHC-6300 Twin Otter. As we make the approach into St Barthelemy, we can see the island just up there. So I absolutely love this aircraft. It is an absolute workhorse of short field airports, and so is perfectly suited to landing at this airport. So we have just reached our cruise altitude of 1500 feet from the short flight from St Martin's Princess Julia International Airport into the island of St Barthelemy just up ahead. So we're about 4 minutes and 20 seconds away from the first waypoint of Sugarloaf. After passing the waypoint, we'll turn left and look to align ourselves with runway 10 over the hill. Before we get into our first waypoint there, might be good just having a discussion about some of the challenges that come up with in this airport. So one of the key challenges is energy management. Because of the steep approach angle on final, it's really easy to gain too much speed and subsequently either float down the runway or hit the runway hard. So in this particular approach we'll be looking at using full flaps just so that we can get as much drag as possible to make that steep descent. So, because of that steep angle, there's also a relatively aggressive flare on final. And so we don't want to keep the speed too low because we actually end up bleeding off quite a bit of speed as well during the flare process. So we're actually going to be targeting somewhere just below 80 knots. So I can see there is a little bit of wind here today as well. So we can expect a little bit of a crosswind and maybe some turbulence on final as we make the approach close to the hills on short final. So we're just got to watch out for that crosswind and be ready to realign ourselves with the conditions as we get closer to the runway. So we can see that we're now 2 minutes and 45 seconds from our first waypoint of Sugarloaf. We're going to begin the process of slowing down the aircraft as well. So we're going to maintain 1500 feet for the turn, and that's when we'll look to transition to a visual approach all the way down to the runway. So I'm going to look to bring out flaps 10 before we pass. So what I'm going to actually do as well is bring the prop levers all the way forward and bring that prop RPM up, and subsequently bring down that speed a little bit as well. At this point I'm actually going to take control from the autopilot. I'm going to bring out flaps 10. And retrim the aircraft. Setting a little bit, so I'm just going to Bring it back up to 1500 feet till we pass that point. Okay, we're passing section now. We're going to now bring that left-hand turn. Speed, and bring in flaps 20. There we go. Bring back the power to compensate for the drag. And start a gradual descent towards the airport. So runway heading is 103 degrees, so we're just going to set ourselves on a course right about here, and then intercept the runway centerline for the approach. So it's going to be flaps 30 as well, and add power. And there's the runway just off to the nose there. So flaps 30 is set. We're going to bring in flaps 40. Flaps 40 is set. We're going to actually target 80 knots, so we're a tad bit slow. There we go. Flaps 40 set. Landing lights are on. Landing checklist complete. So we're going to aim for the top of the hill as close and as safe as possible. And be fully concentrating on the rather aggressive flare required at the end. A little bit of turbulence there from the hill. We'll bring back the power. Oh, we're starting to sink in that wind. That's right, we're going to cut the power. Bring it down the hill. Bring it down the hill. Flare. Brakes, reverses. There we go. Welcome to St Barthelemy. Gonna vacate off to the right here. And taxi in, bringing up all the flaps. Turn off our landing lights. And that's it, and there we go. And thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, then there's 11 other episodes just like this located on the channel. And if you can't find the airport that you want to find, then please feel free to suggest it in the comments. Otherwise, hope to catch you in the next video. Thanks.